Okay, welcome back. Solo roll Mangging. Shadowdark. Yeah. Very slow progress we're making, definitely. I mean, we are slower than an actual group sitting at a table, which is already a pretty slow prospect going through dungeons. But we end up taking a lot of time cutting away to like discuss DM concepts and things like that. I wonder how quickly I would actually go through stuff if I didn't record and I wasn't talking and I was just sitting here on my own in silence with like notepad or something and just kind of like doing it all in my head. I feel like I'd get distracted too easily. I feel like because I'm recording, actually, I have to like keep pulling myself back, like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we were doing something here. Whereas I feel like if I was solo, just doing it in my head or something, I'd like start going to links and I'd click on links and I'd go just start reading discussions for like an hour or something. I'd probably get less done, shockingly. I don't know. Anyways, we are in still, of course, for like the third session now. The Tomb of the Hunters. Who'd have thought this small-ass dungeon would take up so much time? But we had one complete TPK in here, which was pretty devastating. Still a little upset about it. Now we got a whole new set of characters. Norbert, Denton, Grimm, and Clara. And they have now followed in the others' footsteps, literally, to go in here. And they took care of some kobolds that were just trying to find their buddy. We weren't having none of that, though. We struck first. We drew first blood. And thanks to a sleep spell from Denton, put them all to bed, and then we put them to bed permanently. Then we went into this central chamber here with a sarcophagus that was cracked open and got ambushed by some giant undead rats, which was a little harrowing. It actually would have been pretty bad had Grimm failed his save, considering his very low con. He would have probably died. I mean, there would have been a decent chance of him actually dying just from being bit by one of the rats. But fortunately, we took care of him. And we used a little Thunderclap to do so. And I decided to change Thunderclap back to DC 12 con, but I went with 2d4 damage. So you can guarantee at least 2 damage on everything around you, which is pretty good. Well, no, you can't guarantee it. There's the con check. But I wanted to differentiate it from Burning Hands a little bit. So instead of 1d6, 1 to 6 damage, this is now 2 to 8 damage. If they fail the con check. So definitely more damage possible, for sure. But the trade-off is there's a chance it'll do nothing. And it also makes a lot of noise, which for our purposes, or for most purposes, really, it's going to be a random encounter check or lowering the underclock. Which means that, yes, it is possible to... Normally, you don't count combat noise as anything for the underclock, but this is a special case. So it is possible to actually string together encounters with Thunderclap, which is quite dangerous and foolish, but it's also XP and treasure and everything. So, bring it on, right? Then you just do more Thunderclaps until I fail, inevitably. We've also failed Cure Wounds, so we don't have that available. But we're at full health. Party's at full health, and we're ready to fight. And there isn't a whole lot left to fight in here, so hopefully we're good. We're then going to drop down further to room number 3. 4 pillars rise from floor to ceiling in this rough-hewn cave. Hold on, let me just... Oh, okay, yeah, so that is a drop-off. We do have rope, but do I want to actually attach the rope? How does that even work with rope? I guess it's just like yeah, I mean, it's sort of, if you slip, you just hold on to the rope instead of tumbling down. Well, we probably want to do that. Now, again, you wouldn't probably tell the players, like, hey, if you don't put a rope on, it's going to be a dex check or falling. You would just say that it looks precarious, you know. It looks like worn stone. It looks, you know, pretty smooth. And, you know, they're death stairs is what they call them. I don't know if I'd say that much, but yeah, they look precarious. And if they don't want to use a rope, then that's on them. And you can't really just say, well, I go carefully, because it's always assumed you're moving through a dungeon carefully. So, do we want to attach a rope? We have rope. We have a lot of rope. I'm not exactly sure what I would tie it around, but I'd probably tie it around like the sarcophagus or something like that. So, yeah, why not? We'll make it safe. Okay. It says the passage is a far distance down, which means it's 60 feet down. Which means this map is like all over the place. I don't know how to make no wonder there's no scale here. This isn't a proper map to scale. You telling me this is 60 feet? That's what you're saying to me? Outrageous. Well, I'll tie 2 ropes together. I mean, I don't care. Okay, let's move on. Four pillars rise from floor to ceiling in this rough-hewn cave. A ragged, uneven huffing comes from behind one column. Broader passage slopes upward to the east, and 2 vertical shafts extend upwards. The ground is rocky, rough, and dotted with boulders. Now here's a tricky thing, right? But it kind of solves itself. Assuming, yeah, as they did, our first party never encountered this person. So really, she wasn't here a week ago. She came in here like, you know. I mean, obviously, this conflicts because her companions that she came in with are now the ghouls that killed the other party a week ago. So it doesn't quite add up. But much like the kobold, you know, you could change it so that she came in looking for them or something, and maybe she saw the ghouls or something and ran over here to hide, and then we suddenly showed up. So she knows that obviously we have entered the area. She definitely heard us huffing down the passage with our rope and stuff. We're not super silent, which reminds me, let's roll the underclock. 2 more. And our torch, or our lantern. No, our torch. We don't have a lantern activated yet. So she obviously knows that we're there, and we can hear this ragged, uneven huffing. Because maybe she just ran from the ghouls or something like that. You know, it's all murky. And as is often the case, if you're actually going to DM, many DMs will get into this bad habit of overthinking stuff, of overthinking logistics, and like, oh, well, this doesn't actually make sense because this is here and this, blah, 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 blah. Players almost never think of any of this shit. You know, players are in a different realm of thought than the DM during prep. So there's really no correlation between your thoughts about contradictions and players' thoughts while they're playing it. So really don't worry about it too much. All right, so we can kind of, I mean, there's no surprise here on either side. We can tell someone is behind there, but we can also see that, you know, the passage extends further to the east there. The ledge goes up to the north. So we maybe think that that goes back to the entrance because we know there was a passage going down to the south. So maybe we can connect that in our minds. But we're a little wary because that could be anything. And we don't have much. But it sounds like, you know, heavy breathing. And it's out of sight. So I think Grim will just kind of, in a relatively low voice, tell it to, you know, come out slowly. Or we're going to attack. We're going to charge in. And you wouldn't like it when we charge in. So she's pretty scared. She's injured because she fell climbing down where we just took the rope. Her torch is burned out, so maybe we see a burnt out torch on the floor nearby. So she came here looking for her friends who were supposed to be clearing out this cool little tomb that they found, you know, and so, you know, they told her, oh, we're gonna go check out that tomb. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. And it wasn't fine. And she came in looking for him. Went down a different route. Hasn't actually seen them yet, I guess. Or maybe she saw like glimpses of them and, you know, she injured herself and the ghouls didn't quite notice her yet. And she's pretty scared. But she's also whiny and greedy, so she's just not very a good person. She has 1 hit point left, so she's gonna come out because we are not, you know, crazed undead or anything. We could roll a reaction here, but again, this isn't a random encounter. This is a fixed encounter with a fixed NPC that we have personality traits for, so it's probably better or easily doable to just play it out and role play it out. You could do a reaction roll if you just want to get like her initial feelings about the players, because, you know, and especially playing solo, it's probably even more important so that I just don't DM everything and I actually leave some things up to chance or randomness, as if there's not enough of that. Because, you know, it could be that she is just out of her mind with fear and she thinks that, you know, we all have weapons, we're gonna just murder her and, you know, who knows what. So she might try and just make a break for it with a, you know, broken ankle or something, who knows what, in a panic. Or she might be far more friendly and be like, oh my god, you're my saviors, yes, this is awesome. Or she could be somewhere in the middle and just be like, you know, she doesn't just really trust us or anything, but she's not going to try and run. So, yeah, I guess a reaction roll is relatively easy to do. And we'll do this modified by someone's charisma. Grim is the one talking, yeah, so he has a +2. So 2d6 +2. Alright, so that's a 10. Which, I don't know. Okay, you can tell how how little they valued the reaction roll. Okay, alright, never mind. It is on the back of the book. Okay. So, curious. So we're going to interpret that as she doesn't really suspect that they're going to do anything horrible to her, and maybe she thinks that she might be able to get some treasure out of this if she plays her cards right. You know, she's going to use this potentially to her advantage, but she also is glad that they're here to get her out alive, because chances are if we weren't here, she'd be dead. So that's kind of how she's going to play it. And I'd have to go into some more role-playing decisions about how we would feel about this. But I think most of our characters are like... I guess probably most of my characters are neutral because I didn't actually pick, and Norbert is lawful. But it's more about just being heroes, and typically I play heroes, so... Outside of Denton, I suppose, the black sheep of the group, the others are, you know, happy to help a damsel in distress, really, and she's injured, and unfortunately I don't have any cures, heals, or anything on me, so she'll tell us kind of her tale. I mean, she'll be relatively truthful, I suppose, that she came here to try and find her friends, and she caught a glimpse of some foul, ravenous creatures filled with teeth and claws somewhere to the east. And she does not know that she doesn't know what they are. And she doesn't know that her friends became those creatures. I mean, according to this, they got bit by the tomb rats and then became ghouls. Which, yeah, I guess is ghoul fever. I don't know why the rats inflict that exactly, but, yeah, so that's what happened to them. So she knows that they got bit by those nasty rats, which we inform her we slaughtered not but half an hour ago. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we're gonna have to put these foul creatures to the east to the sword so that we can clear out the tomb. That's our goal here. So we tell her to just kind of stick with us and try and stay off her ankle and stay in the rear, and we will deal with all the trouble here. Again, she's hoping to kind of butter us up and try and finagle a share of any treasure we find or something. She is a would-be crawler. I suppose, like, she might have, like, a sling or something. I could just stat her up as, like, a level 0 with a sling. Because that might be her argument of why she gets a share. And this is a good way to kind of, you know, potentially develop, like, a notable NPC or a hireling or something that the players might want to keep around. You never know. You never know. It depends on how you DM it and everything, and how the players feel, and so on and so forth. So we're actually going to roll up her stats because she is like a proper person. Pretty solid stats, really. I guess we'll go with that. She's only going to have 1 hit point, which is what she has. But we're going to go human, hunter background. She'll worship Saint Duragnus, so she'll be... that's pretty holy, though. I'd rather go towards neutral here. We'll go Freya, I guess. Yeah, neutral. Alright, so I'm hoping to get a sling, but I don't know if you can actually start with that. It is in the book. Actually, it might not be in the book. No, there's no sling. And not in the core book. And we will keep her name as Sinov. Sinovi? Sinov? Well, not all caps. Sinov. Alright, and that's our level 0 ally with us. Okay. And we will find gear. Weapon. Sling. Which technically uses stones as the ammunition. So I'm not sure what it does for that. Okay, I mean, it rolled it, so... I guess it's just assumed you can always just have a little pouch full of rocks with you. Infinite ammo. I don't know if that's really fair, considering it does 1d4, which is the same as the short bow, and for that you have to have arrows. I mean, how is this actually different than a short bow? It's not. As usual, they would just say different classes can use it, but I don't know. It seems arbitrary. Anyway, she's got a sling. She's using a sling. That's the end of it. And she'll have a dagger. I can't imagine she wouldn't come in with a dagger. So, and a backpack. We'll give her these things. Alright, there's our level 0. Okay. So, we were chatting. And I'm going to tick another underclock because of it. And we spent some time talking to her and figuring out what we want. I'm not going to roll the light, but it's mostly just the sound of voices that can carry. And I'm going to roll for it. So another 3 down to 4. All right. We know what an encounter is potentially imminent, but if we can kill these foul creatures, there might not be anything left. Yeah, I mean, we pretty much have cleaned out the dungeon in that case. So we are going to slowly move east. We can't obviously make much attempt at being stealthy because we have a torch out. And, yeah, we're not a stealthy bunch. So Grim is going to be in the front, along with Denton. Actually, I mean, Clara should really be in the front. And Grim, of course, has a spear, so he could actually maybe attack from the rear. Pretty much, yeah, we're all kind of melee that just want to be up front and slashing, so it's not a great marching order. But we'll have Clara and Grim right up front because they have the highest AC. And we're going to go in marching order, just creeping along. So I'm going to tick down this one more. I'm not going to roll underclock just yet, because I feel like it might be a moot point. And we get to area 5 over here, the last room. Open stone crypts line the walls. A mewling, sucking sound comes from the south end of the room around the corner. Okay. There's not much about it. They're just we hear this sucking sound from around the corner, and again, the torch. Like, you can't surprise anything with a torch. They probably hear our approach. So we probably hear the sucking sound stop, and then like a growling sound or something. Although they're undead, I think technically they're never supposed to make any noise. But I don't worry about that kind of stuff. I feel like ghouls should make noise. So, yeah, we, just like, okay, you hear kind of a growling sound from around the corner, indicating that they probably know you're coming. So, if you want to prepare anything, now is the moment. And I don't think we have much that we could possibly prepare, unless I wanted to ready my longbow or something. It's not like we have many talents or things of any use. It's just we're a bunch of brawlers. But that kind of is par for the course. This isn't fucking Weird Wizard, where we all have like a billion abilities. So it's more like, do you have any clever tactics here? Not really? Not really? I don't know. Struggle. And if I don't have magic, I struggle with coming up with any good ideas of like plans to do stuff. And that's why most of these fights just end up being kind of brawls back and forth. Don't have any good ideas. Yeah, I mean, I suppose we'll, like, set the torch down nearby so that Clara can have her shield out. And then just wait for them to come around the corner. And they do, and they're gonna attack, because that's what ghouls do. And, we just roll initiative. And have at it. So, Norbert rolling base dex 2, and they rolled an 11. So we're kind of taken aback by their appearance, blood sort of running down their lips and onto their bodies, and just what was clearly once human, or actually they were halflings. So one was, and Sinov, of course, is like, oh, like she recognizes now that they are her former friends. So that's pretty horrific. And the ghouls capitalize on our shock a little bit. So they're gonna go first, and we have to decide if we want to keep that one injured or not. Player characters recover all health after with a night's rest. Do I want to do that for enemies though? No, we'll you know, we'll be nice. We'll be nice. So we'll say he recovered a little bit. And we'll say he's at like 5 health or so. He's like at half health, you know? Which helps Norbert if he ever lands a shot. So I'll indicate that one of the ghouls looks like he has been stabbed a few times. Like he definitely looks like he got picked apart a little bit from some previous encounter. And alright, so that one's going to attack Grim. That is a hit. And then one on Clara. Definitely a miss. So the one on Grim, 2 damage. And he's got to make his con saving throw. His con check. He succeeded. So thankfully he shrugs off the paralysis. And now we go. And Grim will counterattack the injured one. Crit! Crit for 5 damage exactly. Which is enough to kill him, as I said. But I want to roll on the blade trauma, because I never get to. 4. Random piece of battle gear is damage. Funny that a lot of these just don't apply to non-human, like, combatants. Yeah, I suppose this could be written much more generically than it is. I don't know, I may look towards other crit hit tables or something. But alright, it's dead, so that's it. Clara is going to swing back with her mace against the one that tried to hit her. Miss. Denton and Norbert are going to go around and flank it. I think I was going to say, didn't we do like +2 or something like that? For like just being surrounded? And then I'm never going to remember that ever again. I'm just never going to remember. Especially monsters surrounding a player. But if you're surrounded by monsters, you're probably pretty fucked anyways. So Denton rolls. He gets a hit for 3 damage with his longsword. And Norbert... So it's at 8 health. It's not a backstab, even though he's technically stabbing it in the back. He rolled a critical fumble, so it's going to counterattack. And miss. Okay. Sinov is not going to fire her sling this round. She's still a little in shock. She'll fire it next round, though. So it's at 9 health. Our initiative is 10. It is 4. We get to go again. Good. We get to put this thing out of its misery. We hit it for 7. Grim really slashed it across its fucking neck. Its head is almost like severed. But it's undead, so it's still kicking. It has 2 health left, so Sinov will fire off her sling. Maybe she can kill it. She did 1 damage, so not quite, but she did hit it. She can say that she contributed. And then Norbert will try to use his finisher on it. So it's just bonus damage, not bonus roll. So he did not Clara with her mace. Miss Denton, are you going to be the one to do this? You are. You finally follow through what Grim started and remove its head from its shoulders. It slumps to the ground. Huzzah! We won! And Sinov helped. We can all grab an XP for a significant battle. Okay. Excellent. So I don't think ghouls really have anything on them. We can check the monster description on OSE. Oh, they do have treasure type B, really. But ghouls in BX are way more dangerous. They actually get 3 attacks per turn that can all inflict paralysis for like half an hour. So they're way harder. So yeah, they get type B of 2,000 gold piece average. Because level 1s are not clearing out ghouls, really. So I don't think we'll actually give them any treasure. But, searching the area, we do see that there's a backpack nearby containing rotten food, flint and steel, and an ornate obsidian-bladed dagger worth 50 gold. If used in combat, it counts as a silvered weapon but breaks on an attack roll of 1 and becomes worthless. Now, Sinov might try and lie here and say that, oh, that's actually they're a family heirloom. I should take it back. You know, they should take it back to their families. I think that's what she would say. I'm gonna say she lies a little bit. And then it would be up to the players to kind of like decide if they believe her or not, or if they believe that it was just here and they looted it. I mean, the module doesn't say. I guess let's ask the Oracle. I'm gonna ask it if the dagger came from this tomb. Yes. Okay. So she is lying. You know, she has no idea where the dagger came from, but she sees that it looks valuable, so she's gonna try this lie. So now we have to decide as a group then if we believe her. So let's just say, as a group, do we believe her? And I'm going to say this is unlikely. Okay, yes, we do. We're kind of attached to Sinov, and she seems very sincere about it. I can't imagine any D&D group would ever be this gullible. But yes, I suppose we're going to give it to her. Now, here's a question. Does it count as a treasure find even if we give it away? I'd probably argue yes. I mean, we did obtain it. Ever so briefly. And it's not about the money you get for selling it or anything like that. It's about the treasure find. Characters gain XP from the valuable treasures and boons they earned during an adventure. XP awards don't need to reflect monetary value. Boons or fabled items have intangible worth. I mean, look at it this way. Say we find this treasure, and then we just donate everything to the church. You'd still get XP for finding the treasure. We found the treasure. So, arguably, it doesn't really matter. I mean, 50 gold is nice, but XP is also nice. So we're going to get another XP for finding that, bumping us up to 7. And obviously, she can't believe her luck that she not only survived this ordeal, but she got like a bunch of money out of it. The reptilian runes cover the south wall between the crypts. The glowing runes state, to remember those here, one must look to the milk white tower. Anyone touching the runes or speaking the phrase aloud teleports to the top of the opaline tower, area 8. I don't know what this is. You're linking to just like a different adventure? No. Yes? I have no idea what you're linking to. What are you talking about? Oh, okay. Well, yes, it is a different adventure. It's one I don't own. Because it's a big boy. It's a big boy for Shadowdark called the Pits of Brund. And I assume this is the same publisher. It is, yes, okay. Why would you not fucking mention that? Like, parentheses, see the Pits of Brund by Menagerie Press. Like, why wouldn't you just mention that? So, because not everyone is as googly as I am. And then you have like a little section at the bottom here. Like, if you'd like to continue this adventure, or, you know, blah, blah, the Pits of Brund. And then you have like a little advertisement for your big adventure. That's like 15 bucks. So this is a 70-page thing for level 1 to 6 characters. I wonder if this contains, like, maybe an updated... It says it contains the Tomb of the Hunters in it, so I wonder if it's maybe slightly updated or anything. I mean, it's decently highly rated here. I don't know, I may have to grab this as well. Because we could just link it right now. We could go straight to the Opaline Tower right now. Teleported to some other realm. I kind of feel like I have to, right? Like, we have to get whisked away. Dangerous as hell, I feel. But it's like, how can I pass this up? Alright. We're gonna grab this, and we're doing it live. We're doing it live. I mean... Obviously, this Tomb of the Hunters thing is just meant to be a little teaser for you. Because it's a free module you can get. And I think it was fairly interesting enough, and it's written for Shadowdark, which helps. I mean, it's obviously very minimal, but that's why you gotta get the full big picture thing. No, okay, hold on. There we go. Pits of Brund. Level 1 to 6 seems pretty severe for 70 pages, but yeah, I guess. I don't know. Doesn't seem like that many rooms. I don't know if it's meant to actually take you from level 1 to 6 in Shadowdark. It seems kind of extreme for this amount of rooms. So maybe it's more just like kind of within that territory, or you're meant to like do one of these and then do some other stuff in between and come back. I don't know. Who knows? Usually skip over all the background information. So there's Tomb of the Hunters, which we just ran. Formatting is definitely tightened up a little bit. Handful of improvements there. But it looks otherwise to be the exact same text and everything. Yeah, looks to be the exact same text. Okay, so then there's the Opaline. What the fuck is it Opaline? This is a word you're saying?
Opaline.
Opaline, okay. It's another term for opalescent or milk glass. So we go to the top of the tower when we touch this shit. Yeah, and it's obviously all meant to be kind of contiguous because the room numbers continue from one to the next. Okay, so we'll say who's the most sort of Norbert. We'll say Norbert. He's kind of poking around. He touches one of the tablets or the runes or whatever, and he immediately vanishes. And then it's like, oh shit. He just vanished. So obviously someone else, we'll say Clara, very concerned, rushes over, touches the rune as well, and also vanishes. Grim and Denton kind of look at one another and like, oh shit. And then they look to Sinov. And it's like, well, you're not going to make it back on your own, and we're not ditching our friends, so I think you're coming with us. And she doesn't really like that sort of rock and a hard place that she's in. But they're right. She's not going to make it back on her own. Through Frogman territory or anything. She'll and through kind of the muck of the swamp, like she's likely to just shatter her ankle even more and get caught, like unable to get up, and just food for some sort of swamp creature. So she really hates it, but she has to agree, and she hobbles over and touches the rune and vanishes. And then Grim will go, and then lastly, you know, Denton kind of debates about whether he actually wants to do this or not, but he'll go through as well. Okay. So, we don't really have... I guess I would have had to read the background informations for more information about where exactly this is. It's a milk-white tower atop a high bluff within the Badlands. Rumors say the tower's master is a magus of great art. Not really sure how the Tomb of the Hunters connects thematically to the other locations, which means that I can technically just put this like almost anywhere. So I guess we'll put it definitely in the distance. Let's just pick a hex here. These are 3 mile hexes. So I want Bailey Thorpe to be like barely visible from the top of the tower way off in the distance. So I don't know exactly how far someone could see. A few miles. Wait, what? You can see up to 3 miles before the horizon. But what if you're like elevated? I don't know how tall this tower is or anything. Square root of the altitude times 1.225. At 1,000 feet, person can see 39 miles. Okay, well, there's no way this is a 1,000-foot tall tower, right? That would be ludicrous. I think we'll say ludicrous. But it is a tower atop a high bluff within the Badlands. So maybe that's reasonably far. Let's just say 30 miles. We're 30 miles away. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. We're going to go here. 41, 29. And we're going to go terrain. And this is Badlands, so I think this. Boom. Okay, and we will put a tower there. Boom. Okay. I'm not going to generate, the rest of the hexes around it yet or anything. I probably could, because we can almost certainly see a lot of this stuff. But that's where we are technically. So we can just barely see Baileythorpe all in the distance. So we know we're not like a million miles away or on a different dimension or something like that. We have teleported somewhat nearby. Okay. A circle of strange runes are graven into the stones in the middle of the rooftop. And there's a spiral staircase in the southwest. Door to the stairway is unlocked. Door to the stairway. Okay, so we wouldn't see the stairs, we'd see a door. Alright, and we see, we're all here, we all made it safe, nothing has been swapped around. Brains haven't been swapped, genitals haven't been swapped. We're all here. Not entirely pleased about the situation, but also, a couple of characters are at least very curious, sort of filled with a sense of wonder. And I think it would be reasonable to suspect that someone would try touching the runes here as well. In which case, they teleport straight back to the Tomb of the Hunters. So, we could leave if we wanted. We have a way out, and Sinov is like, well, let's just go, let's go back, and let's go, my ankle, let's go back. But no, we're too curious now. We're adventurers, goddammit. This is what we live for. Although it is pretty foolish, and it is just smarter to leave and recover spells and stuff and come back. But no. We're here. So we're gonna check the door and listen at the door and all that. Open the door and go down to Area 7. Okay. The interior of the tower is cluttered. More debris piles. Oh, our torch definitely went out, by the way, when we went to the top of the tower. It was about to go out anyways, but now it's gone. So we can get rid of that. And instead, light a lantern. A little oil flask. So back to 10. Back to 20. Was there a random encounter list for this location? Oh, areas 6 to 8 are above ground and may be sunlit. Okay, so... And they're safe and maybe a base for crawlers. I suppose that's true. Alright. So, we haven't actually lit the lantern yet. It's still bright in here. There's windows. The interior of the tower is cluttered. More debris piles, tilt, teetering, and precarious. The debris may be hazardous, falling on explorers. Okay. Alright, and then there's, so the stairs continue downward if we want. But there's also a door in here. and it's locked with no visible lock. Like, it has a handle and stuff, but there's no lock or anything like that. I suppose we could try and smash it open. Now, here's a good point. What is the penalty for failure in this case? Say I try and smash open this door, and I roll a 3. I fail. I don't break the door. But what would really stop me from doing it again? Now, you could say that, well, your roll represents multiple attempts to smash it open, but it really doesn't. It really doesn't, because a successful roll does not represent multiple attempts to get it. A successful roll represents one big boom, and it opens. Because if it represented multiple attempts, then you would never be able to kick in a door to surprise a group of enemies. That's how it works. You succeed and you kick it in, or you fail and you don't kick it in. That's it. It's one attempt. There's nothing preventing you usually from attempting it again, and usually the penalty for failure is that it makes a lot of sound. But in a safe area, no one's here. No one is around to hear it. Now, the players wouldn't necessarily know that. That's true. But what are you going to do? I mean, especially with the underclock, where it's a very public system. They could kick open the door, and they're like, you're not going to roll the underclock? And I'm like, no. So it's just, well, we're going to try again then. So if there's no point in failure, then really just don't even bother rolling. It's just you eventually get it. I mean, I guess if you critically fail, you could, like, maybe hurt your shoulder or something if you really want to go that far, but I'd say probably you're just gonna make it happen. Ironically, Norbert is our strongest, and he has the highest dex. He's just the best of us. So, I mean, he can roll, but it's really just... Okay, wham. But we feel like it's possible. Wham. That was a 17. I'll just keep rolling. Wham, 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 wham. There it was, 19. So he just keeps smashing into it. He feels like it's kind of giving, and eventually just pops open. Brilliant. Now, you could have just saved all that by saying, yeah, you kick it in with your immense strength. Because it's literally the same outcome. Now, obviously, this is uncommon. There are not going to be many doors that you're going to be able to kick in with no repercussions whatsoever. So it's an uncommon thing that can pop up pretty rarely. Best not to really worry about it. But if it does pop up, just say it happens. Alright, so we kicked our way into a small library, which holds several bookshelves, a desk, and a comfortable chair. The desk has 2 brass candlesticks worth 5 gold piece each. A quill and a closed book titled Mistress Stibble's Guide to How Not to Die. The book is blank. Alright, 2 brass candlesticks worth 5 gold piece each. Well. Is that worth an XP? This is a lot of people's issues with adjudicating Shadowdark XP, because it's very hard to tell sometimes what is meant to be 1 XP, what is meant to be 0 XP, what's meant to be 3 XP, and love it or hate it, having strictly gold as XP is very easy to adjudicate. There's really no question about it. As long as something has a gold value, and again, usually in BX is not a magical treasure, it's just that's the XP it's worth. There's no questions about it. There's no ambiguity. It just works. Here, though, we have to make a DM fiat decision every piece of treasure on whether it's worth XP or worth how much XP. And I have seen plenty of discussions and complaints on the subreddit and stuff about this issue. I mean, based on my reading here of the awarding XP page, it certainly seems like 10 gold worth of treasure is worth 1 XP. Because it says a bag of gold is worth 1 XP. And how much is a bag of gold? Is 6 a bag of gold? Is 50 a bag of gold? Well, 50 is obviously a bag of gold, but what's the least amount that you would qualify as a bag of gold? And, you know, we're taking our XP system from Tales of Argosa, which is a little bit clearer. And actually, if we go there, we get a little bit more, yeah, so 1 XP is obtained Carry Loot B. That is the lowest amount that qualifies. So Carry Loot B, not Carry Loot A. And Carry Loot A averages out to, yeah, like around 20 or so silver. Which, again, the conversion rate here was different. I think that, yeah, like 20 gold is basically what we're looking at there. Right? Because it was like you were stepping down every time. You were converting gold to silver in the conversion rate. So... what the fuck is equipment? Jesus. So we usually like to look at longsword and stuff like that. So 15 silver compared to 10 gold. That's kind of on point. Spear is 3 silver. I remember having issues with converting here. It wasn't the perfect way to do it. Some of these were really whack. But then a staff was 5 silver, 1 silver spear, 5 silver, 3 silver. Depending on what a warhammer is, 10 gold, 10 silver. See, that's drastically different. Well, no, a long sword is 9 gold. So no, that's yeah, okay, so basically convert silver to gold, and that's the value, which means that if you got treasure carry loot A, which averages out to around 20 gold, that's not an XP. You have to get carry loot B, which will generate on average around like 100 gold. That's worthy of an XP here. Which means I've probably been giving out XP for treasure a little too loosely. But, you know. Yeah. I guess that's generally it. That's correct, right? Suppose. That music ended very abruptly. Which means that, no, this would not be worth an XP. And I think that's probably fair. I'd have to go back to, like, Shadowdark XP discussions. You know. Blog posts here. Well, there's certainly plenty of discussion. For level 1 to 3, there's a suggestion that a normal hoard should be worth at least 20 gold pieces, minimum. It could be more. So, yes, 20 gold is technically the minimum that you want to award at level 1 for Shadowdark. I suppose that's fair. So, all right, never mind. We're not awarding XP for that. Close that. But we are gonna pocket them because, you know, money. And not many people have much space here, do they? Yeah. We've still got this cracked opal we picked up. But I'm gonna add brass handle stick worth 5 schmeckles. And we will copy that over to Clara as well. Alright. The bookshelves hold many useless books, including a well-thumbed collection of the Tawdry Goblin, volume 1 to 26. One of these books uses a scroll of Detect Magic as a makeshift bookmark. Now, a scroll. Well, that is a different discussion, isn't it? Magic scroll, right here. It's one of the examples of being worth 1 XP. How are you going to argue with that? Especially because if we follow that other rule from Holmes D&D, to make a scroll costs 100 gold. You know, I think we have sort of your price. So, yeah, you may add an XP. That's your reward for breaking down a magic door, I guess. We do have to actually take it, though, which means someone is going to have to add this to their inventory. And we have no slots, but we do have Sinove. It may come to that, but not just yet. Norbert is going to add it, and we're going to go to... I don't think we have scrolls. Well, maybe we can go to spells, detect magic, scroll. Ho ho ho! Save me the trouble. Perfect. Excellent. I don't know if we actually have a character that can use that. Maybe Denton? Denton has a wizard spell. He knows about wizardry. It's possible. Don't rule it out. Let's see here. Spellcasters can use them to cast these spells if the spell is on their spell list, even if they don't know the spell. So yes, Denton can use Detect Magic, because he is technically a wizard. Technically, right? Are we allowing that on a technicality, that he has access to the wizard spell list? I'm counting it. I'm allowing it. It's my game, god damn it. Alright, good. We're nearly at level 2. That's pretty sweet. Piles collapse if a creature moves through the area without being careful or clearing the debris. Near creatures make Dex 9+ or take 1d4 damage, only triggers once. Well, we're always moving carefully through a dungeon, so I'm not sure when that would pop up. But we're going to continue down the tower. Down the stairs. It's not a very tall tower. Okay. The interior of the tower is cluttered. Stacks of furniture reach the ceiling, and piles of well-used carpets and draperies fill the corners. Okay, so there's a front door. What is clearly a front door to the east. But then there's also... Okay, so basically we'd see two doors. One to the north of us, one to the east of us. The door to the north is magically barred. So it's the same, a very similar door to the one we broke up there. But then the door to the east opens, and we see the entrance door. And then the other door, which is also magically sealed. And we see the stairs here continue to descend. So we could continue down to the basement, but we can tell this is the ground level of the tower. So I guess we'd probably go to the front door first. And this one is normally locked. Like, it's got an actual lock on it, so Norbert can shine and pick it with advantage. Huzzah! He failed. But, oh, give him time. He'll get this. Crit. Hey, crit gives us luck. It's an easy way to cheese luck. Alright, we'll give it to Clara. Okay, so he finally pops it open, and we step out, and we're on the top of this high bluff in the middle of the Badlands, and we don't recognize any of the area because we've never been outside of Valbrook. Or no, we were from Baileythorpe. Maybe we've been around, but not this far. So this is pretty unfamiliar territory. We could rest here. I mean, it's clearly that the tower here, at least, is empty or abandoned, or someone's not home, or who knows what. I don't know if we can tell if it's been, like, inhabited in a while or anything. Again, I'd have to look at the backstory of what exactly happened here. Sounds like there's definitely people here. So I'm not sure why no one is in the tower. We'd have to probably read on to find more about that, because there is the whole basement area. So do we want to just rest here for the moment? Or would we rather make the trek all the way back home and then come back here some other time? I don't know, we didn't really get much out of this, but we did get the scroll. No, we'll soldier on. We want to see what's behind these magical locked doors, because there's probably more treasure. So Norbert will work on smashing through one of those doors. He does, because there's no penalty for failure. And he gets into the storeroom. 20 days worth of rations in some crates here. Boy, there's also pruning shears, gardening trowels, various maintenance supplies. It's pretty handy. And obviously we're going to search to find a stashed copper flask of potent dwarven brandy. We don't have a dwarf, do we? No, we do have a dwarf. Grim wants this shit good. He's obviously pretty loaded for bear, though. So I guess he'll finally ditch this hide armor. He'll give it to Sinnoh, because she's armorless. So clearly she needs it. There you go. Now you got armor. Delete. And that opens up a slot for dwarven ale, dwarven brandy. And I believe that is, well, healing potion is in the gear list somewhere. No, it's not. Magic items. Potion of healing. We will just rename this to Dwarven Brandy. Potent Dwarven Brandy. 80 gold value. And we get XP for that, as far as I'm concerned. So that's another one. We're at 9 XP, dude. You can feel it. We can feel it in our bones that we're close to something grand. Something never experienced before. We've never leveled up ever on this channel in Shadowdark. Maybe we did. No, I'm sure we did. We definitely did. Never mind. It's happened. But still, it's exciting. Okay, so we find that, and it's like, okay, well, now are we good? And it's like, no, we're on the cusp of something great here. We gotta go down. We gotta check out this basement. It's like, oh god, that's where all the bad shit is. But we gotta be strong. We gotta be brave. We gotta be heroes and adventurers. Going boldly where no one has gone before. So we're gonna go below the Opaline Tower. And here it becomes unsafe. Here it becomes dark. We're gonna have to light that lantern. So now the timer is ticking. Underclock is ticking. Really wish I had cure wounds available. But first sign of trouble, we're gonna bolt back up the stairs, all the way up, and get back to the Tomb of the Hunters. Get back home. Okay, the spiral stairs end in a dark passage. The floor is covered with a checkerboard of black and white tiles. Each tile is engraved with a rune. I mean, I'd say they stole this from the Jeweler's Sanctum, but I guess it's probably not super original either way. So the white tiles are engraved with the celestial rune for love. The black tiles are engraved with the diabolic rune for power. Stepping on any of the white tiles triggers a trap. The black tiles are safe to step on. Okay, let's look at our languages here. Denton does know diabolic because he's a warlock. So we don't have anyone that knows celestial, but we got diabolic. So Denton sees that the word written on the black tile is power. But no one knows what the white tiles are. It says the trap can be simply avoided. I assume you mean by like stepping on the correct tiles. Although curiously, it doesn't show the checkerboard pattern here, so isn't that kind of weird? How am I supposed to interpret that? If the trap can just be avoided, then why is there a trap? It's not really a trap. If it's an obvious obstacle, but it can just be walked around, then that can't be right. So, I don't know, that can't be right, right? It can't be right. Who would do that? But it's like with the shape of the room and everything, I'm not quite certain where the trap is, and then you have like pillars that aren't described. Are you sure you put the right description here? I mean, it's kind of strange. It says the floor is covered with a checkerboard of black and white tiles, so I don't think there's any way to avoid it. I think it covers the whole room of this floor, this whole floor. So, again, as usual, like I can't, I know the solution as the DM, so it doesn't really work with me trying to be clever as a player or anything. That's why we hopefully, we try not to hope for any traps that come up in these modules, because they're the hardest thing for me to handle fairly. But I am going to roll underclock for our first entry. Just 1, and timer tick down by 1. I think we're going to have to go to the Oracle here, or make int checks. Whoever has my highest int. Denton, who also can read power and is most likely to want power. It is most likely him. So I'm going to give him a DC 12 check to see if he's just going to, like, make an educated guess and go for it. Okay, he succeeded. Now, I wouldn't do that sort of stuff in actual play as a DM, because you want your players to experiment and figure things out, but I can't really do that. So, you know, had he failed, I wouldn't have given anyone else an int check, and we probably would have gone to the Oracle to see if we make some, like, sort of smart decision or dumb decision or something. But luckily Denton is brave enough, bold enough to give it a try, and smart enough to basically figure it out. So he starts stepping on the black tiles, and nothing happens. It says you can also deface the runes on the white tiles and disarm the trap. Yeah, okay. It's not bad, but yeah, Jeweler's Sanctum basically did the same concept. And that one, I think Jeweler's Sanctum did it better, because it didn't require, like, languages to actually have the hint. The hint was kind of set up in the initial hallway on your way into the dungeon and stuff. And in Jeweler's Sanctum, it's not really a tough puzzle or anything. Even my family was able to solve it pretty easily. Well, relatively easily. But yeah, I mean, they got it in the end. Here, if you don't know either of those languages for your characters, then it's literally just a blind guess. There's no other hints whatsoever. So, you know, could be done better, but there you go. Alright, well, we like to go in numerical order as much as possible, so we're going to head straight south, dip into room number 10 here. Half a dozen niches are carved into the walls. The room is thick with dust and cobwebs. Damn cat. It's always ominous. Each niche holds yellowed fragments of bones. One niche has a skull with a silver coin inset into each eye. Taking the coins may trigger a curse. Damn cat. Okay. Good. We have an easy way to handle this, because Sinnoh, we know, is greedy and dumb. She's level 0. She's greedy. She's not very wise or intelligent. She is exactly the person that we can handle just going over and grabbing this. First, we're going to roll underclock. 5 more points. Light ticks down. So, the fragments of bone is useless. We all see that. But the skull with a silver coin inset into each eye. It's not even much money, but she's just like, well, hey, I'm not going to leave free money. So she goes over and grabs the silver. Okay, and she is going to roll Wisdom 12 plus. So her wisdom is a -1. She rolled a 2, so 1 technically. She is definitely cursed with the curse of dung. 1d6 charisma damage. Okay, just 1. There's no way for me to handle this, but it's not super essential. She is inflicted with the curse of dung. Now, would we know this? Would we sense that she has been cursed? I would probably give Clara a check to recognize that a curse has just been placed as being our resident holy woman. And I would even be nice, because the fun part of this is realizing that you're cursed and how to get rid of it, rather than, oh god, I guess I'm cursed and I'm dead now. Or I'm a giant dung beetle now and my character's over. So we're gonna roll wisdom with advantage here. Okay, so she succeeds. She recognizes the curse and what has just happened. The specifics of it, you know, as far as how she recognizes this, don't worry about it. It's magic. It's D&D. Shut up. But yeah, she realizes, oh, this is you've just been inflicted with the curse of dung. You're gonna turn into a giant dung beetle. Gasp. And she's like, oh my god. Oh no, oh god, how do I get rid of it? The only way is to donate 40. It's so stupid and specific, and it's like, I wouldn't say that, you know. And it is a weird way to remove a curse specifically, but it's like, you're gonna have to make a, you know, you're gonna have to make penance at a temple, preferably one devoted to goblins or the afterlife. And then I might dip out of game and just, if this was a player character or something, I'd say, you know, you're gonna have to donate like 40 gold or something. It's got to be like kind of a significant sacrifice. And that is a significant sacrifice, because basically that's all the money that she's going to get for that obsidian dagger that she talked her way out of. So she knows that, like, she hears this and like, fuck, you know, I can do that, but like, god, I'm not gonna have anything. She's got her 2 silver. That's about it. But she doesn't want to turn into a giant dung beetle. Who does? So, yeah, I think that worked out pretty humorously. I like that. And now we continue on. Damn, dude, this music is ripping. Pretty sure this is AI generated. Pretty good. All right, anyways. Right. So we continue on, and we're going now down further steps. We kind of just like shake our head at this dumb woman with us, this dumb adventurer, would-be adventurer. But we descend down into room number 11. Things are gonna kick up now. I'm sure of it. The blood red hall. Every surface of this hall is blood red. The hall has 2 levels. There's a lower level, the west and south portion, and an upper level, the east and northeast portion. A set of stairs on the balcony stretches to the northeast. A massive spotted lizard squats on the balcony. The lizard is wearing a harness and saddle. It's not immediately hostile, and the crawlers can roll reaction to avoid fighting it. On friendly, the lizard lets one crawler ride it. On hostile, the lizard attacks. Okay. Lizard is not immediately hostile, but if hostile, it attacks. Alright. So we step in, we'll roll underclock. Oh, we're doing pretty well with underclock here. It's pretty nice. And then we'll roll reaction roll on this this animal, because it notices us. And I don't know, would we allow charisma here? Does a person's charisma matter when interacting with an animal? I don't know if it really does. I'd allow maybe a background of some kind. Honestly, Grim's a barbarian, so he maybe has dealt with taming giant lizards before and stuff. If a player made that argument to me, I'd probably allow it. I'm not going to give him advantage, but I'm going to actually let his charisma matter here. So 2d6 plus 2. Okay. Yeah, we got it. Friendly. I feel like I'd make this thing very derpy. Like its tongue kind of lolling out of its mouth and just like really happy to see somebody. I don't know what it's doing here or anything, but apparently it cannot be permanently tamed and refuses to enter sunlight or brightly lit places. Alright, I can already tell you that if I ran this for my family, my sister would never accept that in a million years. She would devote the rest of her D&D career to getting this thing to go outside and be her permanent pet. So, it just, yeah, that would never happen. So I'd have to allow it to just go wherever, and it's their new giant lizard pet. Which then enters the whole discussion about mounted combat in Shadowdark, which, whoo, boy, I wonder what that supplement is. I think that might be Curse Scroll 2. Let me check Curse Scroll 2 here real quick. I think that has camels and stuff that you're riding on. Mounts, here we go. All humanoids can ride common and uncommon mounts. Rare mounts like Scrag require special training to ride, blah, blah, blah. Mounts have a number of gear slots, blah, blah, blah. When riding a mount, you use its speed instead of your own. Most mounts bearing a rider can attack in combat. However, a mount of level 7 plus may make one attack on its rider's turn. A mount unaccustomed to fighting might spook during combat. Alright, I mean, I love you, Shadowdark, but that is really not a lot of information. You need more rules than this for mounted combat. God, but what supplement do I want, or what RPG do I want to poach from for this kind of stuff? Weird Wizard? It's a little too tactical and specific, perhaps. I don't need to take all the rules. There's just a couple things that I wanted to grab. No, I guess not. I mean, maybe you don't need many other rules, I suppose. Because what are we really talking about? I mean, oh, well, alright. So what's the real benefit of riding the mount? Basically just the movement speed. Most mounts you find are not going to be level 7 plus. This thing's level 2. So it's really just like you have faster movement speed, which in dungeons and, you know, but most times you're not riding a mount in dungeons. This is kind of a weird case of we have a giant lizard the size of a horse inside this basement. It's kind of weird. Honestly, I don't think any of my characters are going to ride it because I don't want to get into the whole thing, but I know that if I ran this, it would happen. I don't know if they would actually ride it. I think they would just like want it to come along and maybe like bite stuff. But it's pretty fragile. I mean, it's 11 AC, 8 HP. I mean, its bite attack is 9 plus 4 and 1d6 damage. I mean, it can get some stuff. But yeah, it's not super powerful or anything. I think it's just kind of fun. I think it's meant to be fun. What a weird concept. So yeah, I mean, I guess it'll follow us. Like Grim has kind of temporarily tamed it, and it's willing to come along. So, fuck it. Fuck it. We'll just have it come along. Alright, so as for the actual room here, I guess we went around, we went up the balcony, we're hanging out with the lizard up here. Tamed it. And now we're gonna continue. It's like, all right, come on, boy. We're continuing on. We're going up to room 12 here. Now here's where you really have to read ahead. You have to read the whole thing as a DM, and you have to understand what each room is and what adjacent rooms are and things like that, because this is a little fucky unless you stretch out distances a lot more. Because if you make this staircase way longer, like way bigger, and this is technically like 45 feet something of movement to get to the top, then maybe that works. But based on that scale, they would have immediately heard us enter that previous room, and we would have immediately heard them talking. So I would say, like, yeah, when you get to the base of the stairs there, you kind of hear these arguments. A black-robed elf vehemently arguing with a similarly garbed dwarf over a leather-bound tome. The tome has a pair of squinting slit eyes and a fanged mouth embossed on its cover. The book's mouth yowls in an obscene tongue, adding to the chaos. So, yeah, I mean, this is very vocal. They are arguing over the tome and the clenched teeth. If not interrupted, they attack each other, assuming only one wizard survives with 4 HP. Otherwise, the apprentices attack the crawlers, seeking to defend their stolen book. Okay. And they're next to a set of brassy metallic double doors. Alright, so let's paint the scene here. We're at the base of the stairs. We got our lizard buddy with us, and we hear loud arguing now coming from somewhere up the top of the stairs, echoing down the staircase. And we also hear like this like the speech of Mordor or whatever, you know, dark speech kind of yowling alongside them, and it's just this kind of little cacophony now that we now hear. And players might be like, well, why are we suddenly hearing this? But I mean, you know, you don't have to say when it started. I mean, technically it's been going on this whole time, but, you know, whatever. Maybe it just started. You don't know. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? That's a situation. Deal with it. I think we turn off our lantern. I think we turn off our lantern and slowly creep up the stairs, like on our hands and stuff. Like, no tripping or anything. Just very slowly, we're gonna creep up the stairs in the dark. And I think going carefully, it's possible, I guess, to slip. But, I don't know, seems kind of unlikely. These aren't natural steps, right? These are man-made. So they should be decent, like, you know, of like rigid... no, uniform. They should be uniform in, like, their length or width or whatever. So I think it's reasonable. I don't think as a DM I'd fuck over people doing that with random dex checks. They're going very slowly in the dark to try to be quiet. Alright, so they sneak up. And they get close. They see the elf, the dwarf. They're both in robes, black robes. They see this tome that looks like, you know, the book out of Hocus Pocus or something. And then there's a yowling, dark speech sound coming from the book. And the argument is pretty intense. And they're arguing about, you know, they're kind of like pulling the book back and forth between each other. And then I would say, you know, to the players, what do you do? And if they say we wait, then right after that, I'm going to have the wizards attack each other. If they say anything else, then, you know, probably it's going to interrupt the wizards. So let's roll an oracle here. Let's make it 50-50. Do we wait? Is the question. We do. All right. Well, that's simple. So they both have 10 HP, 10 AC, or 8 HP, 10 AC. They have daggers, but really they're going to be casting spells. One of them's got to go before the other. I guess I could just simulate this, but it doesn't really matter. It only matters if I wanted one or the other to survive. I do have to roll underclock for us going up the stairs very slowly. So it's down to 10. I mean, I'd roll underclock anyways. I guess I could roll twice, but that seems excessive considering how quiet we're being. Alright, so I don't think I really care which one survives, and I don't think it matters. So I don't know, I'll just roll a d6. 1, 2, or 3, the elf survives. Okay, the dwarf survives. And his name is, I assume Crunch is the dwarf. So the dwarf prevails against an elf in a magic contest. I wouldn't have guessed that. But, you know. Can't discount skill, I suppose. He is down to half health, though. He did get scorched a little bit in the process, but otherwise he blasts the elf with just a big blast of acid to the face. To the fucking face! And he, you know, greedily picks up the book afterwards and, you know, caresses it as it continues to just babble in diabolic. And Denton speaks diabolic. And he informs them that it's utterly gibberish. It means nothing. So it's great. So now, you know, he's just kind of standing there caressing his book. And there's a maniacal gleam in his eye. I don't know, do these characters have a purpose? Should I feel bad about killing them? It says they may grow in power if unchecked. So no, these are just apprentices. These are not major villains or anything. They're pretty pointless. They're just mage apprentices. So I think it's fair to, that they're evil and we're gonna kill them. So we have to assume that there is a light there. This guy's not standing in darkness. So, he might have a lantern. That's probably the easiest way to do it. He's just got a lantern on him. So that means that Grim is going to pull out his longbow and shoot. Because he can see the target in the light. So he's going to roll. Now, I did see some people say to give advantage on a surprise attack. But that seems more of like Norbert's thing. And actually, yeah, maybe Norbert should do a backstab with his dagger. Fuck it. I'm gonna have Norbert do it. Because he gets advantage on the attack roll, because we changed that. And because I added that, maybe I didn't need to add that? Because I saw some people saying that just like, yeah, you get advantage when you're, you know, when you're attacking from surprise. I didn't see that mentioned at all. Oh, there it is. A creature has advantage on attack rolls against surprise targets. No wonder that's not listed on backstab then, because that's just a given. Okay. That's really good to know. So then Grim would also have advantage. He just would... It's kind of a horse apiece. Norbert would roll 2d4. Grim rolling 1d8. It's pretty much a horse apiece. But, yeah, we'll give it to Norbert. He's got the higher odds anyways. So he's gonna sneak up and throw a dagger right in this dude's fucking head. Backstab. Advantage. 18. 4 damage. Exactly enough. Throws the dagger. Spins through the darkness. Lands directly in the dwarf's head. Dead. Good job. Not a significant combat. No XP. But we approach now because it's not quiet, but there's no targets. And the book is laying there, just gibbering loudly and diabolic. Anyone can use it to cast a permanent hold portal spell once per day, but casting it from the tome automatically causes a mishap. The book is not destroyed when used this way. It constantly screams and diabolic, attempting to attract monsters and cause problems for the crawlers. It is only worth 1d6 times 50 gold pieces if sold because it is a filthy, corrupt tome of vile sorcery. This is probably where I would just explain that, like, okay, this thing has value. Because remember, I wanted to be different. Not different. I wanted to be proper now, and I'm proper ways, and actually telling players the value of treasure they pick up, because it doesn't really matter. So I would say this thing has value. I'd probably roll it right now and say it's worth 200 gold pieces. If they can manage to sell it, because it is a corrupt tome of vile sorcery. So finding a buyer for this thing is going to be a little tricky compared to normal treasure. And as long as they're carrying it, whenever I would roll the underclock, I'm rolling twice. And that's what I would just say. Now, here is where I'd have to institute as well the sort of classic XP rule, where technically you don't get XP for treasure until you bring it back to civilization. So I'm not going to give them XP just for finding this thing. They have to carry it out one way or the other. They have to bring this to a place of civilization, and I'll give them the XP for it. Because this thing is abnormal, so it's not a normal piece of treasure. So, for our purposes, does anyone want it? Well, I think you already know the answer. Sinov is like, oh, okay, I think I can find a buyer for this. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it with. And everyone's like, no. I mean, Denton probably likes it as well, but he recognizes how dumb it is to carry it with us. Would they physically stop her from taking it, though? I don't know. Again, maybe Denton would. Okay, I'm gonna roll the Oracle. I'm gonna make this unlikely. You could make it just even, I suppose, but I'll make it unlikely. If Denton threatens her or something like that, or really strongly implies the implication of what would happen if she took that. So we'll roll twice. So, no. The answer is no. He does not do that. So we roll a 3. So she is going to take it, and we're going to make this a little spicy now. So she's going to add treasure, and this thing is called the Tome of the Clenched Teeth. 200 gold pieces. Big time. Alright, and it continues to babble in her sack. And, you know, she tries to stuff it in there to make it as quiet as possible, but it really just starts yelling a little bit louder to compensate, so there's no way to quiet it, unfortunately. Outside of, like, a silence spell. Alright, so now we're at the brass doors. So we're going to continue on to room 13. And we're all just like shaking our heads at this damn book that's screaming. So we go into 13. Cave walls are slick with algae and mud. A wide sloped passage goes gradually upwards to the east, and a winding southern passage heads gradually downwards. So I'm going to roll the underclock twice, along with our light ticking down now, because we turned it back on. We got 4, 6, 4, 14. That means an encounter does occur immediately because of this damn book. 4. Alright, so Amor attempts to flee past, pursued by Crunch. Ignore if dead. For our purposes, that means reroll. 5. The floors or walls momentarily puddle with mucus-like slime. Creatures touching the slime or moving through must make con 12 plus or take 1d4 acid damage. The slime disappears in 1d4 rounds. Interesting. How do we rule this? Creatures touching the slime or moving through. Are we assuming the whole floor just becomes slime? And if we're touching it, do we have to make the roll? It's kind of rough for a low-level party of adventurers with, like, no abilities. Like, what are you gonna do here? I feel like we'd probably just run back. We'd run backwards. Back through the door. I assume it's just in this room, this area, that turns to slime. This is probably where I would go by marching order. So since Grim is in the front, he's technically the last to retreat. So he's going to have to make a dex save here to try and avoid it. The slime catches up to him pretty quickly. He rolled a critical failure. Ouch. Well, I mean, I probably would say he takes max damage, which is 4, which means he's going to be unconscious in the slime and basically dead. So, shit. He goes down to 0. And now, you know, the rest of us run to safety, but then we notice that Grim is, like, face down in the slime. So, Norbert is our best bet. He's the most dexterous, and he's the strongest. So he's going to have to get over there and grab Grim and run back. Which pretty much means, like, 2 dex rolls here in order to make it through without taking the damage. Oh no, it's con 12. Yeah, it's not... You can't avoid it. It's just trying to take the pain and work through it. I mean, his con is also pretty good. Clara technically has the best, but her strength is shit. So she'd have trouble, like, lifting Grim or anything. So it's up to Norbert here. And since this isn't Dex, you know, and there's no thievery or anything that's going to be available, I'm going to have Clara give her luck token to Norbert because it's important. So, we're going to have him roll his first con. He rolled a 3. Okay, we'll use the luck token right away. 10. He still failed. So he takes 1d4 damage. 4. I mean, of course it's 4. How could it not be 4? Is this the TPK? Well, we didn't decide how many rounds this thing is going on, so let's roll that. 3. Okay, so it was 1 round when we ran. Now it's been 1 round with that happening. Grim is surviving for how many rounds? 1. He's about to die. So Denton has to run over to him and feed him his dwarven brandy. So, well, no, we'll have Clara do it. So Clara runs over, because she can survive the slime, no problem, which is why we should have sent her in the first place. So she runs over and rolls her con. She makes it. She's got to get there. She's got to do this. And pours the dwarven brandy down his throat. So he restores 1d6 hit points. 1. Of course it's 1. But he's alive. No, he's conscious. He's conscious. Actually, he should have gotten a d20 roll. Alright, he didn't get it. Okay, so yeah, he loses his brandy. Worth 80 gold, but it saved his life. Now, Norbert is surviving for how many rounds? 4. Okay, that's pretty good. Technically, he should be taking slime damage. I mean, so should Grim have taken slime damage. Yeah, I mean, if we're going to be completely fair, that is the case. And Grim would have rolled a 9, and then he would have been dead, for sure. Taking damage when you're at 0, I'm pretty sure, is just dead. If I really wanted to be that dickish or anything like that, but it's like I'm not. I mean, I think it's an exciting enough situation that they had to rush over there. He had to lose his healing potion just to get, just to live. I think it's all pretty fair, and we still have to stabilize Norbert, but we've got some time here. So Denton then is going to rush over to stabilize. Fails. Pilar will try to stabilize. Fail. Grim will even try to stabilize. Success. Okay, so he's unconscious at 0. I guess I forgot about Sinnoh, but she was kind of like, oh god, I'm useless here. I don't want to touch that slime. She would instantly die. So, yeah, needless to say, that was pretty rough. Norbert will live, though, and so will Grim. But we gotta get out of here. With that book screaming and everything, we gotta get the fuck out of here. So I think we're gonna retrace our steps. But I am gonna be rolling. Now, usually for the underclock, you only roll for every 3 explored rooms that you're going through. But for this, I'm just gonna roll for every 2 explored rooms we go back through. And yeah, it would be faster to go that way, but we don't know what's over there. And I don't want to find out. So technically we're going back through 1, 2, 3. I'm going to roll twice and that'll be that. And it's unlikely to trigger anything. Yeah, okay. And that would tick down a bit more. And we make it back out of the tower. Or we make it back to the ground floor. And we kind of collapse there in exhaustion. And I think we're kind of camping here for the night. We tell Sinnoh to take that book like to the top of the tower and leave it up there for now. We don't want to hear it. Like put it like outside of the door at the top of the tower so it can shout to the wind. And she'll at least do that. And then yeah, I think we're just camping. And the only what else is down there that could hurt us? No. Deep ones exploring near the surface world. They wouldn't come all the way up. Mist isn't a problem. Phlegmy dampness isn't a problem. Surface explorers looking for treasure. So they could pop into this tower eventually, but I think we can just kind of hand wave that. And then there was that other room I didn't go into, which was the slime cave. But that's not going to come up. So yeah, we're completely safe here to just spend the night. And I guess we'll do that. And we have plenty of dried rations in the stock room. So I think we're good. We will spend the night. Now, we're 1 XP off of leveling, but there's something that we didn't account for, and that was exploration. Tales of Argos, you get 1 XP for exploring several hexes of untamed dangerous wilds, discovering a new ruin, dungeon, significant lair, or other major point of interest, exploring a new level of a ruin, dungeon, dangerous city district, or other adventure site, and interacting with mysterious dungeon components like levers, buttons, etc. I think you could rule that this is worth 1 XP of finding this tower and exploring the basement and, yeah. I think that's all worth 1 XP for the exploration rules. Because, again, why not encourage exploration? We could have just gone home. Now, I know for playing solo like this is mostly just, like, free XP, but for DMing for, like, my family, who are very wary of ever exploring further and would always want to just leave the dungeon and go home and stuff like that, these rules are a big help for incentivizing, I think. Technically, you also get 3 XP for disarming a trap before it goes off, which is pretty hefty at first level. But at the same time, it's like, Yeah, I suppose. I think it's maybe a little too heavy, considering the combat equivalent is defeating very difficult foes. The loot equivalent is a major magical item or a spell book. So disarming one trap for 3 XP seems like pretty hefty. But I could agree with 2. I could probably agree with 2. So technically, we gain 3 more XP. Also, exploring 90% of an adventure site. I mean, technically, we did that for the Tomb of the Hunters. So really, there's an argument to be made here for like 6 XP. Which, again, sounds like a massive amount when we need only 10 to get to 2nd level. And compared to Shadowdark, that is a lot. That is 6 XP right there that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. But, you know, later on when you need like 200 XP to level up, it's not that much. And so that's what I said. Like, the system here seems pretty designed like 5th edition to level you up to like 3 or so pretty quickly. So honestly, you know what? Fuck it. What do I care? I don't know how exactly powerful we're going to be, but I'm going to give myself 6 XP for all the exploration and troubleshooting, problem solving that we've done so far. And you know what? I'm going to let Sinnoh level up to 1 as well. She has earned it now. She survived her funnel. So she's going to go to level 1, and she, I think, is probably going to be a thief. I think that's her most fitting option. So she'll just be a thief. All right, she rolled good on that, and she gets +2 to Dex. Seems to be the best case scenario for her. So there you go, 16 Dex now, 3 HP. Not bad. Not bad, and she gets backstab. All right, Norbert, roll. He gets 3 more hit points. And his backstab now adds more? Yes. So now his backstab adds 2 weapon dice. His thrown dagger or something is 3d4. It's pretty nice. It's not amazing. It's going to average out to like 7 damage. But hey, 7 damage. Pretty good. And spending in the night so we heal back to full. Denton. Got 2 HP there. Surely he gets nothing. Yeah, see, this is what I said, where the non-core classes, even the official ones, tend to not have that same feature where they get something every level. So the thief, you know, gets an extra damage die. The fighter gets an extra bonus, but other classes here don't get stuff every level. Yeah. Yeah. You do not get something every level, unfortunately. Well, what does a wizard get every level, like, actually? What do the wizard and priest get every level? Oh, yeah, their levels go up. Yeah. So they do get new spells and stuff every level. Yeah. It's a kind of a core part of these classes. You're supposed to get something cool every level. And that's why if I'm going to do any custom classes of my own, if I was going to edit a class or make my own from scratch, I would try to adhere to that because I think that's fun. I don't think it's fun to level up and you get 2 more HP. That does not feel satisfying, and that does not... I mean, maybe it's just the old school JRPGer in me, but I like to see something pop up every time I level up, you know? I think it's exciting. I would say probably most people agree with you. And I know most of your power is meant to come from magical items and things like that, and as you progress through a campaign. But still, obviously, the designer liked the idea of a class getting something every level that other than just HP. So it seems kind of part of the core design philosophy, even if it's not in the supplements. Anyways, Grim leveling up. Oh, fucking big HP. Oh, because he's a dwarf, he gets advantage on that roll. All right, and now his thing goes up, so his spear is +4, 1d6 +2 damage. Oh, yeah, the fighter. Yes, fighter. Fighting so good and fighting. Yeah, fight. All right, roll HP. Oh, that was lame. And we get another spell. Well, if you're just going to let me pick, and I can pick whatever I want. I'd probably say turn undead, especially knowing that, like, the undead are a big problem and we have a necromancer and loads of zombies and stuff. Yeah, I think I'll make the sensible choice here and take turn undead. Okay. Well, yeah, so Grim's at 14 health, which is pretty amazing. Dwarfs are not bad if you want to be a frontliner like that. Compared to Denton's 5 HP, which I don't know what the fuck to do with Denton. I don't know why I did. I should have just made him a wizard. This is a poor class. We could have found a better, like, Gish class than this. I don't know what he is. But he does have sleep, and it's pretty good. So we spend the night, we recover our spells, recover our health, blah, blah, blah. And the night passes without event because there's nothing going on here, and we are good to go. All right, so I'm going to end it off here. And I'm pretty sure this dungeon continues. I think this is all continuous. If we go to Pits of Brune. Yeah, southwest. No, okay. Doesn't it? There's definitely stairs leading down from area 13. Winding southern passage heads gradually downwards to the caves of Brune. Oh, and then we get into the actual dungeon, the highlight of the whole module. Yes, well, we could do that next time, but we also could now go back because we have a sufficient amount of treasure. We're kind of loaded. We don't have many other inventory slots or anything, and we want to get rid of that book. So, yeah, I think we'll probably head back all the way to Bailey Thorpe. We'll see how that town's doing now. We'll sell. I mean, it's only been like a day, but we'll sell some shit, stock up on some other stuff. We got pretty good amount of money on this trip thanks to looting the other party. So, you know, we've kind of given away treasure and blah blah blah. So we didn't get as much treasure as we could have out of this whole thing, but hey, we leveled up. And we'll end up getting, like, you know, 50 some gold more, leaving us at like 450 gold. Can do quite a bit with that. Get some real heavy armor. Yeah. And then we'll go from there. And we may continue with the pits, the caves of Brune. Considering that I did buy this module, we may as well experience some more of it. But there's also the zombie situation. Or with that money, we could try and hire some mercenaries to go take down like the gnolls or something. I mean, this is all options available to us. Exciting stuff. But for now, my name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging with Shadowdark. And I'll see you fine folks in the next part.